Okay. Hello. How's the audio? Good. Welcome everyone to a Saturday with Clear Mountain. Um, and today we're joined by two very special guests. Most of you, who here has met Ayananda Bodhi before? Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Um, so, um, actually, I think Ajahn Kovila, you're introducing Aya today.
That's right. That's right. So, Venerable Ayananda Bodhi grew up in Wales. It's a country. And yeah, not England. I did say she was from England once, and I got corrected. So, from Wales, in her 20s, she went and started training with Lumpur Sumedho at Amaravati Monastery, ordained as a Siladhara. So, has been practicing in monastic forms for multiple decades now. In 2011, or actually earlier than that, she came to America and started practicing and took bhikkhuni ordination in 2011, started the community down in California, Aloka Vihara, and then just in the last couple years has been up here over in Port Townsend starting Parayana Vihara. So we're so very happy that you're here. Ajahn Nisabo will say something he likes about you.
I feel like if you compare monastics to different beverages, I'm sort of espresso sometimes, and Ayananda Bodhi has this quiet that just pervades out of her whenever you're nearby. It's a depth and a tea. Sorry, tea. It's like tea. It's appropriate for Wales. But just, it's been a real blessing for those of you who know that Port Townsend has become the home of one of our monastic mentors and sisters, and just so great that to have you visit. Aya, thank you so much. I tried to look up Venerable Satima's biography online, and I found one for a nun born 80 years ago in Sri Lanka, and I thought that probably wasn't you. Oh, well, I guess I should have looked there more closely. But what I do know about Venerable Satima is she was a teacher at, or associated with Bhavana Society for some time, and Ajahn Kovil and I first met her at Dhamma, and just was very moved by her quiet and just real elegance. And we asked what had made her decide to ordain, and she said it was just one step more towards disappearing, which I thought was very beautiful, and also is a good reason why we're going to let her not give the talk today as well. Or so glad to have you, Venerable. Thank you so much. And Venerable Satima will be here for the next few months in Port Townsend with Ayananda Bodhi if you want to visit her.
And I'll say something I appreciate about Aya Satima. Yeah, just listening to your talk recently on the Nandaka Wada at Empty Cloud, it's just so easy to see how much you love the suttas, and to have that kind of resonance. You all should watch it. There aren't that many YouTube videos with Venerable Satima yet. But yeah, it's really lovely to hear you talk about the Dhamma from a real place of love and almost very sympathetic to that. Sadhu.
A few practical notes. I think we are in need of a WhatsApp admin. It's been one of the key forums for our community to really grow and connect. If someone is willing to help in that capacity, it would be a great benefit, and really will be another pillar in our community. So if you're interested in volunteering, or at least learning what that would be, talk to Christina here, our community coordinator for remote roles. We also need another mic runner. My mom is one, but we need a second. Greg, are you our man? All right. Are you committing for several years? For at least today. All right, good. And also, who here is interested in learning the invitation to the devas, or invitation for a Dharma talk that we often do? If you are interested in being one of the people that leads that invitation sometimes, talk to Bonnie. There's 2 sign-up sheets in the back. Well, there you go. Good. So do that. Okay. There is audio and text, and Matt will give you personal tutelage. Okay, great. So we're starting a little late today, so Aya, please just adjust all the times and take as long as is appropriate. But we're very grateful to have you. Thank you.
Well, we'll start with the chant together on page 37. This is the Buddha's words on loving kindness. You can feel free to chant along as well. I think here's a mic for you, but totally up to you. Yeah. Now let us chant the Buddha's words on loving kindness.
This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So, finding your posture for meditation. A posture that supports some alertness, supports awakeness, but also a certain relaxation. So not forcing, not being tense in the posture, and also not being too comfy. It's that place right between the two. And bring your attention inward. Being aware of your body and mind. And if you're busy with lots of thoughts, see if you can draw your attention down into your body, away from the head, away from the thoughts. It's like diving from the turbulence of the waves down deep into the ocean. Being aware of the body breathing, that natural rhythm of the body breathing in and breathing out. So just bringing your attention to that, not controlling the breath, not doing the breathing, but bringing attention, awareness, sati, presence to this simple process. Noticing every micro movement of the breath. Of the body breathing. And we've just generated an intention of metta with this chant of unconditional friendliness, kindness. So we can breathe that in, breathe it into our body, breathe it into our mind. So with each in-breath we're taking in that quality of metta, letting it suffuse our body and mind. Taking the time to fill your own reservoir of metta. In this body, this mind. So with each in-breath, taking that quality of metta ever more deeply into your body, so that you feel every cell of your body resonating with metta. And just noticing if the mind gets pulled out, if your attention gets pulled away. And inviting it back. To each breath. And to the resonance of metta in this body and mind. And if your metta reservoir is full, then just let it flow out. Let that quality of loving kindness flow out in all directions for the benefit of all beings.
I will be requesting the Dhamma talk. It is on page 124 of the chant book. Please feel free to chant along if you would like. Page 124. I will start by bowing 3 times. Brahma Jaloka Tipadi Sampati Gat Anjalianan Tiwarang Ayajata Santi Thasatta Parashakashatika Tese Dhammaṃ Anukampimaṃ Pashaṃ.
So beautiful. First, I just want to check, can everyone hear me okay? Can you hear me? Somebody's not responding. Yeah? At the back? Yeah? Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So the Buddha is, with his great compassion, saw how we are bound up, caught up, tied up in knots, entangled internally and externally in our story of who we are, of how it feels to be this one, and in our relationships with each other and with the world. There's entanglement upon entanglement. And he saw the potential, I mean, he not just saw it, he was living it, living the potential of being free of that. And the Buddha's teaching covers such a wide variety of levels. So from the very basic to very, very subtle teachings. And what I've found is that even the very simple and basic teachings have layer upon layer of meaning. So in the beginning we might hear something and it's like, oh yeah. And then we work at that and then we find the fruits of that, we experience the results of it. And then maybe much later on in our practice, we understand it differently, more deeply. Even around things like mindfulness, sati. You know, in the beginning it has we have one understanding, and we're like, I've got it. And then much later in our practice we might find, oh, there's this whole other aspect to sati. And then now I've got it. And then later again we might experience another subtlety. And this is one of the beauties of the teaching. I think of it like a spiral learning. You know, we keep coming back to the same place, but with greater understanding and greater depth of understanding. So the metta theme has been here this morning with the chant and the guided meditation practice together. And in the practice of metta, you know, many people, there's a lot of people don't like it. It brings up aversion for some people, and because maybe there's a sense of can't do it. No. So the quality of metta itself can work on that. It can bring metta to that no. It can work on the knots and the solidity of who and what we think ourselves to be. Because the solidity of who and what we think ourselves to be, it comes from thinking. It comes from thoughts. So how we use our mind really, really matters. Our thinking mind and also our heart mind. So the Buddha is pointing to the fact that we are not our thoughts. We are not our body. We are not our feelings, feeling tones. We are not our perceptions. We are not even our sense experience. It's kind of hard to grok that, because it feels like, well, what if we're not any of those things? Then what are we? It's got to be something among those, at least one or two of them. And he's not denying them. He's not saying they're not real, they don't exist. But he's saying, this is not who and what you are. Don't hold on to these transient things, thinking this is who I am. Or thinking, if I get this, or become this kind of person, if I just get that promotion, or if I just get that really good opportunity, then things will be good. Then I'll be who I really am, or I'll come to that place of yes, of settling. So that place of settling and well-being that we all look for in different ways, the Buddha was also pointing to, but he's pointing in a very different direction. So he's not pointing to being somebody really impressive or having a great resume or having a wonderful, lots of material wealth or being brilliant. He's not really pointing to any of those things as the place of happiness and peace and well-being. And some people have those things, some people don't. Some people want them, some people are not interested. But he's pointing to a place of presence where we meet what is here and now. And in the beginning of our practice, presence isn't always very nice. So we turn towards what's here and now, and ouch, lots of difficult stuff that needs to be sorted through and tidied up and released. And that can go on for years, on and off. And maybe there's also, through the practice of meditation, particularly, and ethics and meditation, we can also touch into some potentiality, moments where everything just stops, where there's clarity, peacefulness, brightness. And then the old karma starts playing out again, and we're back in that small, tight experience of being somebody. Being somebody we like being or we don't like being. Generally being somebody, the feeling of being somebody is kind of uncomfortable. So the Buddha is trying to point us to how we can let go, how we can loosen and undo those knots. The history, our history, the tendencies of our heart and mind. So how we can transform them. And this is for everybody. This is a teaching for everyone who's interested, everyone, for those with little dust in their eyes, everyone who has an interest, a curiosity, a yearning maybe to free themselves from this small, limited experience of I am, me, mine. So the practice of metta, if we really use it as a practice, we don't have to start with loving all beings, because we probably can't do that. Or maybe we can love all beings except for this one. So that is not all beings. That's missing a very important one. So the way I see it is that first we need to start the work here in our own heart, in our own mind, our own body, the work of transformation. Bringing in the qualities of kindness and also of boundlessness. So the quality of metta, all the Brahma Viharas are also boundless. And this is a quality of mind, it's a natural quality of the mind, of the chitta, boundlessness. It's not what we live from most of the time, but it's accessible, it's real, it's here, it's accessible. So the metta practice is not just about being a nice person, being kind to everyone, not having thoughts of ill will. It helps with that. It certainly is an important part of it, not having thoughts of ill will. It can transform those thoughts. But it's also about touching into a bigger potential that we have, that isn't just this personality. And it transforms the way we experience the world, and also it transforms our own patterns. It loosens the knots, this quality of metta. And as we cultivate that, and in a way that is embodied, present, vibrant, radiating, interrelated, so it's radiating for all beings. And then we can even go beyond beings and just let it radiate. Just let it radiate in all directions, down into the earth, out into the cosmos, out into every direction. Learning to release the mind from its limited, bound, forgetful state. So as we do that, we start to so that those experiences of spaciousness and boundlessness, they support the undoing of the holding and the knots and the wanting and the not wanting. And as we experience a greater perception of reality, the small, tight story isn't so believable. It loses its power. And then gradually, so this is a support for, it leads towards liberation. It's not, the practice of metta can't lead to final nibbana, but it leads us in the right direction. It can lead us to unbinding, to a vaster and more boundless experience of reality. So in a way it kind of pushes past all of the blocks and the limits and the knots. And there are many quite simple aspects of the Buddha's teaching that we maybe are already employing in our practice, like sila, like ethics, that also support this unbinding. So, the first precept on not taking life, obviously on its very basic level, don't kill other. You can even, Ajahn Chah would even sometimes say, don't kill other people. If he was working with fisher people, it's like, hey, just don't kill other people. So there's a very coarse level, and then when you take it to a very refined level, there's this sense of life is arising, like this. And the Buddha's pointing to the selflessness, the anatta of what we take to be me and mine is not me and mine. So you could say life is arising in these different ways right now. Life is Ajahn Koveloing and Ajahn Nisaboing. Life is Alexing and Kating. Life is arising in these different ways. And so, we are all part of this same process, this same arising in our unique and individual ways. And there's many ways that the Buddha points to this, like the elements, the 4 simple elements, and they're interchanging all the time with everything on this earth and actually in this universe. So there's this constant exchange of elements going on. And then I think, oh, this is me. This is mine. These are my 4 elements here. This is my earth, water, fire, and air here. No, it's constantly changing. We're part of each other in that way. So for one arising of life to take another arising of life makes no sense, because we're all part of the same arising. And as we understand and purify and transform this individual process here, the ethics and the understandings as the kilesas or the obscurations of mind, of heart and mind, get purified gradually through the practice. It's not all about me anymore, what I can get, what I can be, what I can show, but and yet it remains unique. So the arahants were very individual characters. So we remain unique, but without that self-orientation. So we can, we start wherever we are. We might be starting, it might be keeping the 5 precepts is our highest practice. That's a really precious practice, and it might be that it takes a lot of effort to keep those 5 precepts, and that's perfect. And it might be that those feel really established, and we're just comfortable with those, and we're really working at transforming ill will in our heart, because it just keeps coming up. And if that person was just not there or different, then I wouldn't feel this, but it's all their fault. And it's like, well, no, it isn't all their fault. The ill will is in the heart. So how to transform that ill will? Or greed, whatever it may be, confusion. So the work is to know where we are, start from where we are, know where we are, and to really meet the edge of that. So if the practice is very comfortable, we probably want to up the ante a little bit. Where are the places of stuckness? Where do I get triggered? Where are the knots? And to meet them, and bringing in all of the goodness of your practice already. So not forgetting to look at where you have already cultivated, and also the friendship. Good friends, spiritual companions is so important. People who've gone further than you have gone, or who are working with the same staff and want to encourage you along the way. So this is all a support for the practice. And I feel like here, these conditions are amazing. They are so good. We have really amazing, frequent teachings from the Ajahns here, and this vibrant community, and good enough, requisites, like enough, hopefully everyone's got enough food, water, medicine. Medicine can be a bit challenging sometimes. Accommodation and clothing, hopefully you've got the basics good enough. And then finding the time. So everyone has this time. You've spent this time to be here. Finding the time to take care of the path. The conditions are really good. And the opportunity is rare. And if this is the first Sangha you've ever been at, you might think, oh yeah, this is just like how it is. And I think this is quite a unique community, actually. And the quality is very high here. So don't waste this opportunity. Don't just come for entertainment. This is a precious opportunity. The Buddha says there is no discernible beginning to samsara. So samsara is the endless wheel of becoming. Never ends. There's no discernible beginning, and it goes on. And the Dhamma is showing us that we can get off that wheel. We can get onto the Dhamma wheel. And the Dhamma wheel leads us to Nibbana, to freedom, to liberation. And this is a genuine possibility. This is real. This isn't just people back in the Buddha's time when the Buddha was there. This is a genuine possibility that we can all support each other in, work towards. And we do it by meeting what's here. And we do the work little by little, being inspired by things, working through the really difficult things, going through challenging times with maybe having a friend to lean on, or maybe not. We still can get through them. Going through kind of wonderful experiences, illuminating, insightful experiences, and then keeping on going. Don't just have some wonderful experience and think you got there. You're done. No, keep going until full liberation. It is. This is what the Buddha was pointing to. It is possible. Maybe we should have a race to the finish line. And there are also in the suttas mentions of some of the disciples of the Buddha who had made pacts in past lives, to support each other. They'd be seeking for enlightenment, and then, okay, well, if you get there first, let me know, and you can help me along. And so maybe that's something we could all do. Maybe not everyone, all of us together, but choose someone, or there may be somebody in the room. Maybe these two monks have already done that long ago. Support each other to enlightenment. So just a sense of like someone who's always going to be encouraging you in the right direction. So I offer that today. And I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or...
Han Tamayang Tamakataya Sadhu Garang Katamase Sadhu 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 Anumodhami.
Thank you for being here, Venerables. It's such a blessing. My question is it the personality that abides in ill will? Or is that Mara, or are they one and the same?
Great question, yeah. Well, what is the personality? The sense of self is a contraction. The sense of self is, it's that which is not liberated. So ill will is part of the sense of self, and definitely Mara. So Mara, for anyone who doesn't know what Mara is, in the suttas, you have the Buddha, and you have various kind of deities, and then you have Mara, who is actually a deity, who is the one who's always trying to pull you off track. So the one who's always telling you to do the things that will keep you stuck. So you could say, yes, Mara and ill will, Mara and ill will are like that, and whether ill will is Mara or Mara is ill will, maybe we don't need to get into that, but definitely if there's ill will arising in the heart's contracted, it's othering, it's me and them, and so it's delusion. And Mara is the king of delusion, revels in delusion. And then the personality, I guess that's, probably in the suttas, the Buddha doesn't even really exactly use that word personality. We have translated some things as personality that he doesn't really use that word, as far as I know. Personalities. Sakkaya Ditthi would be more like the body, isn't it? So maybe that's a more modern psychological, or not very psychological way of seeing things. But anyway, ill will is a contraction, the sense of self and other, and it's kind of the opposite direction to liberation.
People can ask questions on Zoom as well.
Thank you, Ayaz, so much. I'm familiar with the obstacles to metta. I remember reading your that analogy of your experience of that contracted, leathery little heart from so long ago, and that no that arose so much in me. I worked on, but I'm interested in your experiences and observations of what yes is like. So teach us more about the yes to metta, please.
Yeah, the yes is... So I guess it depends where you're starting from, but for me personally, the first yes was, it's just recognizing there's a need to transform if the heart's very contracted like that. The first thing was like, I need some help. So there's a yes there. And then being given that teaching on metta and realizing the heart can't do it. So take it in, breathe it in, let it bathe the heart that can't produce metta. So I guess I had an experience before I started meditating of unconditional love as a phenomena. And so there was a sense of, it's here, it's a quality. And then the separate sense of self blocks it. So there's the belief in a separate somebody, the personality, the me, that thought was blocking that unconditional love from permeating the heart, the mind. So I guess because I sort of saw that before, there was a recognition like, okay, well I can't generate it, but I can take it in. And so then taking it in until the heart is well and has a sense of well-being. And then it's just a lovely, lovely thing to do, to share that for all beings. There's nothing more wonderful. I mean, there are more wonderful things, but not many, than sharing that for all beings. It's just, that's the yes too. It's just like, it's a beautiful thing to do. And then as you keep doing that, and at first it is a doing, as you keep doing that, you experience it's very, very beautiful for oneself, and it's beneficial for others. And then gradually the heart-mind just gets, you experience the limitless nature of the mind, of the citta. And it's the yes is in some ways it gets more and more present and centered and just here. And at some point you don't need to be anyone doing anything, it'll just be happening. Yeah. With some cultivation. Yeah.
Vandana? Is that what you say? Vandana, please.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So nice to see you and hear you. You're such a well-rounded. I would say like your talk was such well-rounded. Appreciate it so much. One thing which I kind of you mentioned about we all are on the different stage on our path, and we all should help each other. This is wonderful. And also, I appreciate when you talked about the elements and how we are part of the elements and we are in this constant exchange with our surroundings, right? This is such wonderful in a practical level. Like I see myself, if the tree doesn't exist, I won't be here. This body won't be here because they will give me something which I am going to survive with, and I will give them something they will survive with. And what the question I want to ask you, when you say just see life arising, can you also please complete it with life passing also at the same time, right? Arising, passing. So can you please elaborate? I love your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And actually, the Buddha points much more to the passing because of the cessation. Yeah, life is arising and passing away. I mean, jiva, in terms of life is arising and passing away. Everything is arising and passing away at every moment. And actually, how we look at that, how we put our attention on the arising and passing away of things, influences what we experience. So maybe for many people, maybe the arising part is really accessible and fun and like yay, and so then to really pay attention to the cessation of things, it makes a balance. Because everything that has a beginning goes through a process and has an end. And maybe my leaning is a little bit more towards the ending of things naturally. So I perhaps put more emphasis on the arising because to find a healthy balance, yeah. But definitely, yeah, the Buddha's pointing to guiding us actually to be aware of the ending of things, and ultimately the cessation, the ultimate cessation of any kind of grasping, which is nibbana, which is liberation. So, thank you for bringing that in. Very important.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Can I say one thing about the yes?
Yeah.
There's a quote from Ayananda Bodhi that I've memorized. It's simple, but it's beautiful, that letting go is letting be. And I was thinking, like, what's the word for yes in Pali? And it's evang, evang. And that also means thus. Like when every sutta starts with evang me sutang, thus I have heard. So the sense of like acceptance, like when we say yes to each other, we say evang, evang. So like thus, yes, it's like this is the ground.
I'm new at this, but and I'm not sure if this is an appropriate question, but it seems to me right now there's a lot of evil in the world and feeling helpless in light of that, and I'm wondering how Buddhism looks at that.
Thanks, Vic. Yeah, the evil in the world. It's there always has been. There always has been. We hear a lot about it now, and on a global level, let's say, and also it's tricky, because who is thinking who is evil? Because these people think those people are evil, and those people think these people are evil, and so the Buddha was warning us to not feed evil, to not strengthen evil, but mostly he was pointing to us to cultivate the good. So if we look out on the world and think, oh, everyone's evil, it's also evil, there's a lot of corruption in the world. There always has been, actually. And I think what's playing out here in the US at the moment is a very old story that's been played out many, many times in many countries by many people. And it's kind of how the world works. So the Buddha is kind of pointing to samsara, which I mentioned before, this endless cycle of becoming. It keeps on, it's endless because of greed, because of aversion, hatred, and delusion. Those are the three forces that keep it turning, keep it turning, keep it turning. And so, there are times when when those forces are stronger, and there are times when they're weaker on a level of a country or on a global level. And the Buddha isn't trying to get us to fix the world, but to be part of the cultivation of the good and also of understanding the nature of things. So it's important to, if somebody's in danger, to do what one can to protect them. And if somebody needs help, to do what one can to help. And we're limited in this world. We can only do so much on a worldly level. And I think it's very important that people do, there's many levels that people do good in the world, and I think it's very, very important, each of those levels. There's many, many things that people do. Each of them is important, and then there's kind of what the monastics hold in a way is the stepping out of the whole crazy mess of it all into, and I don't mean in an avoidant way, but just recognizing this is beginningless and endless, this has been going on forever, and how can we bring, and in our own lives, the qualities of clarity, kindness, understanding, patience, these qualities, and how can we encourage them in others? Because basically those three forces of greed, hatred and delusion are the problem. And so to, in a nutshell, like the nutshell of the Buddha's teachings, to refrain from doing harm oneself, to do good, to find ways of doing good in the world in whichever way you can, and to purify the mind, purify the heart, and that's the meditation practice and the practice of, so it's like ethics and doing good, and then in the meditation we find a stillness that isn't pushed and pulled around by the world. And that's not an avoidant place, but it's a place of clarity. And it's really what needs to be strengthened. Yeah. So did I answer your question? Okay.
One more.
Thank you. So can you talk about straddling self and non-self? There are people that say you have to find yourself before you can let go of the self. I can get to a place of grokking and understanding the non-self and even feel it, and then I just slam right back into the self. And then there's the conventional day-to-day where we have to navigate the self. But how do we stay more on the path of anatta?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a way of perceiving. So we're not trying to get rid of anything. I mean, we're trying to get rid of our unwholesome tendencies, but we're not trying to not be somebody. There are times in our meditation practice where the sense of self falls away, and that's really nice, and there are times also maybe we're in nature, or maybe you might find listening to music where the sense of self falls away, and that's so lovely, it's such a relief. And then, then somebody calls you, or you've got to go to work, or whatever is happening, and then the sense of self arises again. And it's smaller. It's a smaller experience. And so, Andy Olensky, who's a translator of Pali and Suttas and Sanskrit, he points to he says there's no word, I think, anyway, you might know this, if this is true or not, but there's no word for process in Pali, strangely enough. And he said if there was a word for process in Pali, then maybe that word for not self would be process rather than anatta, because that atta, anatta, that self, not self paradigm makes a lot of sense in ancient India, and then these days it can be a little bit confusing. So what he's pointing to is, if you think about the body, so as I was mentioning about the elements, for example, that's a process. So we drank some water, and then that water that was once part of the river or the rain is now in this body, it's part of this body, and then it's going to go back into the sewage system and go through its process. So that's going on. There's a process here in terms of the four elements, and in terms of everything. So this whole experience of being me is a process. So that's kind of one way that the Buddha is pointing to. It's a process, it's ever changing. None of these things are permanent that we take to be me and mine. And because they're not permanent, let them go. Let them go. So one of the ways I find helpful to reflect on is that this body is nature. It's nature unfolding, and we have different natures. You know, some individuals are very, very energetic. Some are more kind of laid back, and some are super intelligent. Some are more intuitive. You know, we're all kind of different, but it's nature unfolding. So we still use our. So there's still some directing of our body, speech, and mind. We're clear about, we're discerning about what we do with our body, speech, and mind, but we kind of do it, and then we're doing, and then letting go, and doing, then letting go, and then just noticing when the contraction of self happens, and getting curious around that, and says, okay, is that phone call, or is that situation at work, and how do I bring the practice into this? You know, how would it be to not follow the old patterns? So it does come back to what I was saying about the patterns and the solidifying, and using things like metta or right speech or whatever it is, where we're changing what we take ourselves to be normally. We're doing it differently, and then that transforms. So it's a sort of a softening of the grip of me and mine, an allowing of the process.
So. Andamayam Dhammakatayu Sadhu Karang Dharamase Sadhu 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 Anumodami. I'd like to see how many translations you can come up with for that, Ajahn.
The word sadhu. Yeah, it means like, yeah, way to go, everybody. It's great, great. Fantastic.
It's really, I think just having Aya nearby it really is one of the things that's made us feel like Clear Mountain was kind of cradled in its karmic place correctly, having you come. And I thought maybe we could just take 2 minutes or so, maybe 3, maybe 4, if people just wanted to express gratitude for Aya and embarrass her just a little bit. Just raise your hand and we'll bring a mic over to you, and just the expression of Kim first, or Jyotikara, please.
Hello, Aya. When I have the opportunity to sit with you, there's something about the quality of presence that you transmit that my whole being just goes, ah. And I've said this before, but it sort of feels like a cat. Like if I could just curl up at your feet and live there forever, then Nibbana would really be accessible to me. There's just this like I can just soften and let go because you hold the container with such grace, and is how I feel. Sadhu.
Thank you so much for making the trip over here. And I mean, there's so much that I'm grateful to you for, but when Ajahn Kovilo and Ajahn Nisabo introduce you, there's always mentor in that term, and it's comforting and refreshing and just beautiful to have a bhikkhuni of your years to help guide and mentor and be a backstop and support for our Ajahns, if I can call them our Ajahns, maybe. Anyways, so thank you for that. It's really a lovely thing.
Three is a Buddhist number, so one more.
Thank you. I just want to tell you that I find you so solidly grounding for me. My orientation is here, it's living here, it's It's what is here in me, and it is not up here, which is where I used to live. And I find that you bring me right down every time that I listen to you. So I wanted to put it that way.
Okay, and we have a special gift for both of the Venerables.
On a nice tray. It's a half-finished New Yorker annual calendar, but it's tuned to the page that ours is, so we'll both be able to read the same cartoon every day. You can get 3 big sadhus for our sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And we have a cat. A cat with a hat. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you so much. And I'm also deeply grateful for both of you for your practice and your amazing generosity. You're very, very generous in the Dhamma, incredibly generous. And for this beautiful community. It's like, wow. Yes.
Good mentor. Yeah, so we will actually, I think the community is a bit bigger than it normally is, and I think there are people who came out maybe especially to hear you, and we do always have new people, and at this point in the service in the morning, kind of just open up for people to introduce themselves. If this is your first, second, or third time, you can raise your hand and maybe just say your name and how you heard about Clear Mountain. And we don't need mics, we can just say your name, please. Welcome, Nandi. Nandi. All right, good to meet you, James. Welcome. Good company. Welcome, Rob. Welcome, Shannon. Welcome, Cedar. Welcome, Vic. Nice. Welcome again, Charles.
Is it Vic? Vic, what was your wife's name, if I can ask? Carolyn. Can we bring her? We'll just bring her into our hearts as well, Carolyn. So just wrapping up now. We know it's 11, so if people have to go, that's okay, but we're going to carry on for a few more minutes, just because. First of all, after we do finish up, as many of you know, monastics in our tradition don't use money. Everything here is freely offered, so please have some of the wonderful food that's offered in the back. The books in the back are freely offered as well. If you'd like to offer support to Parayana Vihara, perhaps talk to Kate here. And just go visit them. They're not that far away, and it's really special that we have such a teacher so close, and Venerable Satima as well. Thank you for coming. Additionally, if you haven't made a name tag, please do so. There's in there in the back. And once again, if you're interested in being a mic runner or Dhamma talk requester, there's a list there. WhatsApp admin, talk to Christina. And with Ayananda Bodhi's encouragement that we make a deal that if one of us becomes enlightened, we tell the others. Ajahn Kova and I would like to extend the invitation to everyone to tell us when you become enlightened and help us along. Okay, watching.
If I could make just a real quick announcement. Next week after the gathering, we'll have a men's Dhamma discussion group from 12:30 to 2 at the Capitol Hill Library, and I'll post the details on WhatsApp.
Talk to Milo about that. Jen. It's a much less gruesome process than it sounds like. It's worth doing. Really, if you want to get to know one another, please sign up for that group. They're really wonderful. Okay, if you have to go, we understand, but if you're willing to stick around just a little longer, if I can invite our community coordinators up. So Bonnie is our in-person community coordinator. Christina is our remote community coordinator, and Jeremy is our community coordinator for Board and Land Search. So these are three of the people who are really coordinating a lot in the background and might be a little bit embarrassed, but not sure.
Hi, everybody. Today is Thank You Volunteer Day. I am in charge of the Seattle in-person volunteers, and it's been a year of asking, requesting, cajoling, twisting arms to try to get people to volunteer, and every time people step up, every single time. There hasn't been an instance where a spot hasn't been filled, and things have not gone off beautifully. So really, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. It has made my year wonderful. It has made it fulfilling. Everything we've done has really come off beautifully, and it couldn't have been happening that way because only because of you. So there's some desserts, and there's a sign, and there's a little saying, a little something back there for you to read, just to show you how much I and everybody else involved appreciate you.
I just want to add on, my particular pillar is our remote volunteers. So Bonnie is in charge of everybody in person that makes Saturday happen, and Jeremy is in charge of the Board and Land Search. But there are a lot of people on Zoom remotely that actually extend the connection beyond Seattle. And that team has grown significantly this year so that it creates accessibility for people all around the world to hear the Dhamma from our wonderful Ajahns and all the guests that do come. So I want to acknowledge them as well. Thank you, remote volunteers, for everything that you do to make this spread worldwide.
Well, I didn't expect to be saying anything, so, but yeah, it's amazing seeing what Bonnie and Christina do. And yeah, as a community coordinator, I get to have more, a look behind the scenes of all the work that goes on with the Ajahns and the other community coordinators and the board and land search and just how everything happens every Saturday here. The amazing AV team and the photography. Yeah, it's just so much amazing dedication to this community and the practice and the embodiment of the practice that I see on a regular basis that's really supportive. So yeah, thank you all.
I think we want to invite people who are volunteers to just stand up so we can acknowledge you. And then if you are on Zoom participating, just raise your electronic hand and maybe we can spotlight you. But yeah, we would love it if our volunteer team would just stand up for acknowledgement so we can express sadhus to you.
And 3 sadhus, because we do that too. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Yeah, this whole community really would not run without the amount of volunteer help, and the community coordinators have been key to that this last year with keeping us from being completely flattened by the amount of duties that there are. And the volunteers that have stepped up, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, and just very grateful for what everyone's given. So can people stand up just once more, and then Ajahn Kovila is going to say something deeply inspiring to you. Come on. I'm embarrassing everyone at the same time. Okay.
Wow, he embarrasses everybody at the same time. Yeah, we are very grateful, and as monks, part of our job is to step back, but it's not like we're stepping back into a vacuum. There's the whole space that we're able to step back into is fully supported, from single calorie that we eat to all the places that we're able to come, being able to come here every morning and to meet with people like you and being able to give talks. I mean, we're speaking, but we're able to see all of you. You just look at us, but we're able to look at you, and we get this Thai word is gamlang chai, this kind of power of heart, this nam chai, this water of the heart, which just wells up from all of your support, and especially all the volunteers who support then everybody else coming and making this community happen. And it really is a beautiful and cool and powerful space. So thank you all.
Volunteers have first dibs on the desserts, which Bonnie made. And there's she bought them. She bought them. Still good. And there's a few who didn't stand up, but that's okay. Just so grateful. And those who want to, after we wrap up, can come and speak with Aya and Venerable Satyama, who will be up here. But for now, those who want to can bow and pay respects to the Buddha. And wave goodbye to our friends on Zoom, everyone. And make sure to sign up for a blender, and everyone go.